What's going on, friends, clients, and partners? Today I'm going to be discussing a topic that I get questions about all the time, which is how to improve your website's load speeds. In this video, I'm going to be giving you 10 important metrics that Google and other search engines look at when they talk about page load speed or user experience. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Google has actually announced that the core web vitals that they run your website against, which is how fast it responds, whether or not it's serving next generation images, whether or not your first viewport loads in a appropriate manner. You don't want your website shifting around. Have you ever been to a website where you go to click on something and it shifts? That's a poor user experience and it's going to fail your core web vitals. We're going to be diving into each individual thing that directly impacts your site's core web vital score. So if you're interested in making your website top notch and being at the top of Google's radar when it comes to user experience and speed, this video is for you, so stay tuned. Number one on our list, choosing the right host. I don't know how many times I hear it. I hear it day in and day out when I talk with new clients and even partners and some old clients that come back, is their website's slow and they've done all they can on the website, but they just can't get that server response time better. Number one reason, you're on a slow host. GoDaddy, Bluehost, HostGator, all these shared hosting providers, they're slow because you're sharing bandwidth with X amount of websites. If there's a big website on the same part of their hosting plan that you're on, your site's going to slow down and potentially could go down due to traffic overloads on another person's website. What you're going to want to do is get onto a cloud-based hosting platform. And if you're on WordPress, you have some really good options. You have WP Engine, Kinsta, Cloudways. These types of WordPress platforms are great. And some of these platforms also have other hosting options as well. So that's number one, get on a good, reliable host. Number two, use a CDN. CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. Some good CDNs are Cloudflare, Fastly. There's some enterprise CDNs like StackPath out there. But what CDNs do is pretty simple. They have POP locations all over the world. And wherever your users are at any given time, those files, your CSS, HTML, JavaScript, are stored in a location that's closest to them. So having a CDN helps serve these files quickly when users are out and on the go. There's something else awesome about CDN as well. Most CDN providers offer some awesome security features and some other cool features that you might need to utilize as your website scales. So that's just an added plus. But definitely use a CDN. It's going to improve your page scores in Google. Number three on our list is serving next-gen images. Next-gen images are image formats like WebP, JPEG 2000, JPEG XR. These image formats have optimal compression, which allows high-quality images that are small in size. This improves your page load speed, improves your user experience, and makes it much better for the end user. And Google is adding it to their core web vitals, so you better start serving next-gen images. Number four, browser caching. Browser caching is a technique that actually will store files, assets, and other important things that your website needs to look good and function right on your user's device. That means that the next time they come to your website, that browser cache will be ready and it'll just load everything instantaneously. They won't have to hit your server or hit your CDN and re-download all the images. So it's very convenient for your user, especially when they're returning to a website. It's going to improve performance and it's going to make the user experience better. The two things Google is looking for your website to do. Halfway through our list, coming in at number 5, optimizing your code. There's a few techniques you can use to optimize your code. The most popular are minifying your CSS and JavaScript, inlining your critical CSS and JavaScript right in the HTML, and removing unused CSS and JavaScript. There are tons of optimizing plugins to minify your code, inline your code and remove unused code. And if you know what you're doing, they can really help out. But tread lightly on this one, because it happens all the time. Clients or even other developers, they're playing around with these plugins and they get it to load really quick, but then you go and look at the front and the whole site's messed up. Styles are messed up. JavaScript's not working the way it needs to work. So tread lightly, but optimizing your code is going to definitely get you a couple points on your Google PageSpeed scores. At number 6, we're getting squeezed. Compression is a technique that compresses all of your site's assets, files, and it helps serve them in a lower payload. It's going to improve your page load speed, and it's going to, of course, improve your user experience. gzip's a popular compression technique, and again, there's plenty of plugins out there that help compress your files and assets so that your site can bump up in speed. Lucky number 7, we're reducing page redirects. Now, in some cases, page redirects for your website's really important. Maybe you have an old blog post article or an old landing page that's getting a lot of traffic, and you need that redirect there so that it sends it to a new page so that you can get higher conversions or just share your new content that you're trying to show. But if you have too many page redirects happening on your website, it causes chain requests, and it takes that much longer for your users to get the content served to them. Poor user experience, it's gonna slow your site down. By all means, if you have redirects on your site, make sure that they're actually needed, because it is gonna cause a poor user experience. Number 8 is reducing server response time. This one's related to number 1, which is choose a good host. So if you're choosing a good, reliable host like WP Engine, Kinsta, you probably won't run into this issue. But if you cannot choose a new host, or maybe you're on a custom cloud platform like Google Cloud or AWS, there are some key factors that can help improve your response time. And most of the time, it's the server technology you're using on the website, or the resources that you have, or whether or not your database is optimized. So you got to make sure your database is optimized so that the queries from the database can get served on the front end quickly. So there's a lot of really technical aspects. If you have any questions around this portion, specifically to your setup, make sure to comment below or reach out to me directly and I can help talk you through some of this stuff. But definitely fall back to number 1. Choose a better host and you won't have to worry about this. We're getting lazy with number 9, which is lazy loading your images. Lazy loading is essentially loading a placeholder on images that are outside of the user's viewport so that Google and other search engines see that all the assets have been loaded. As soon as the user scrolls down, your image will appear for them in real time. This doesn't really affect user experience. The only thing it's really affecting here is showing Google that, hey, your site's loading quick and all your assets are there. But on the reverse end of this, if you have big bloated images and they're not lazy loaded and they're not compressed and they're not next gen and all the other stuff that we talked about in this video, you're gonna see that big blocky image just taking forever to load. You don't want that. That's terrible, and Google will flag you for that, and it's going to be nearly impossible to get to the top with slow images. And last, but definitely not least, coming in at number 10, prioritize the above fold content. The above fold content is that first viewport that your users see. So you really have to make sure that that first viewport is loading instantly. So prioritizing that, making sure that images are loading properly, everything's compressed, all the steps that we already talked about are completed so that that first viewport can load, because if it's not loading fast enough, that's going to fail your core web vitals and it's going to affect how your site ranks. So there you have it, everyone. That's our top 10 tips for improving your page load speed and boosting your SEO through performance-based and user experience-based SEO practices. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to comment below. I'll answer them as soon as I can. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to discuss anything about a project you got going on, or if you have any other ideas around page speed optimization or enhancing the user experience of your website. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Take care.